So it's a week after the Atlanta shootings.
6 Asian lives were lost for us to recognize racism against Asians here in North America.
I am furious and I am exhausted.
I do have my concerns and fears whenever I leave the house to buy something. I am afraid of being shot out of nowhere.
I fear for my parents, I fear for my family members. It's just been a really, really tough time for the Asian community.
I'm a native-born Vancouverite who from childhood until now have been subjected to numerous experiences that highlight my ethnicity as a reason for why I don't belong here, for why I couldn't possibly be Canadian.
I was harassed while reading in a park and threatened to be reported to the police.
I was at the bank trying to hold the door for an elderly gentleman and he refused, which was fine. I thought, okay, COVID. And yet, as I looked back, another gentleman was coming out the same time and they brushed shoulders with the elderly gentleman and there was no issue there at all from his part.
Being told that I need to go back to China because I am Asian, because that is where I belong.
A woman approached me and started berating me, asking me if I speak English, told me that I should go back home to China, and then stomped off declaring that all Chinese people should go to jail.
From being told that I don't have the right look to teach French immersion, to recently having people deliberately cough at me as I pass them in the streets or in stores.
I think that would be very on par with my experience with racism. It's always been subtle and always been small, but enough to really make me wonder, do I belong here?
I personally am reminded of all the times I've been called exotic, all the times that someone has told me I'm beautiful for an Asian woman.
There is an Asian fetishism that is out there that stereotypes Asian women as sexual objects. I'm not a sexual object.
I'm concerned for my 3 Asian daughters that are trying to navigate their way through teenage and young adult life. I'm concerned that when my oldest daughter goes to bars, how is she seen and how is she respected?
All the times that I've been asked, where am I from? And people don't believe me when I say I'm from Canada.
It's actually hard for us as Asian women to speak up against this, because to do so means to be disruptive, means that we are bringing shame upon our people.
I definitely think that COVID-19 has exacerbated racism against Asian people, and it needs to stop.
I was having a conversation with a stranger there. They asked me where I'm really from, and of course, when I told them I was Chinese, they responded by saying, "Should I be worried?" Implying that I could be carrying a virus.
My kids were playing in the park and some lady started shouting at them to go back to where they're from and that they're spreading the virus at the park.
We've gotten looks, ignorance, offhand jokes, and a number of inappropriate comments, and probably numerous more that our minority community has been conditioned to keep quiet about.
And there's also another incident at the dollar store. There was this lady, when she saw me in the same lane as her, she intentionally faced the wall. And I walked past her and I just said thank you, but she just ignored me.
I had to talk to my son about where he came from. And he says, well, why do I need to go back to where I came from? Because I was born here in Canada. So I had to say to him, sometimes people say things out of ignorance and fear. And people who say those things can say it at people who look a certain way. And that is what we call racism.
Even before lockdown kind of happened here in Alberta, I got racially profiled, or I was just treated really poorly by a bunch of girls in a bathroom bar on the college strip, and they coughed in my face and said it was like the Chinese virus.
I feel like when I go outside, I have to be on high alert in case, something happens to me.
The best was that she was in the other lanes with other people, but she did not do that. So it's very obvious that she's treating me as a virus. So just to let you know that we are not virus, we are human, just like all of us.
I'm just afraid of going back to normal. Will those threats and those verbal attacks come back again? Fingers crossed, no, but I doubt it.
I think this country has a deeply rooted history of anti-Asian racism, and we need to start acknowledging that as soon as possible.
I thought as an Asian Canadian person that we had this privilege that would prevent us from violent racial attacks against our community, but I've really realized that white supremacy will not hesitate to call you the model minority and then find something subhuman about you and attack your community the next second.
I feel like it's my responsibility and the responsibility of other young Asians in Canada and in America, all over the world, to advocate for the protection of our elders and against Asian hate.
I am directing my frustration and my anger towards fighting for justice and advocating for those who need it most, and raising awareness and protesting. And I invite you to do the same.
I am also feeling stirrings of hope, as for the first time I'm witnessing the Asian community mobilize virtually and in person to have their voices finally heard.
I truly believe we can only solve a systematic issue with the help of our friends and neighbors. Collaboratively, we can stand together.
Protect yourself and let's speak up and help each other.